Omagyanatmirandasya yananjana shalakaya chakshurunvitanjena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Guru Gaur Gandharva Govinda Grindanaisaha Vande Prashadato Yesham Sarvaramba Shubhankana. Well, happy to be here this morning. Our good friends in Canberra. And refreshed, the rain falling throughout the night, blessing the dry land, just like the mercy of Gurudev falls upon us and blesses us in our dry desert-like condition. Okay, so we're continuing the Sri Sri Prapanna-jivanamritam, and we are in the middle of chapter 2, Sri Shastra-vachanamritam, the nectar of scriptural word, verse 26. Hari prapananam anyanishtada samartyam atmaramamanam api hari pada prapatischa. Souls surrendered unto the lotus feet of the Lord Hari are competent to deliver others, and the fully self-satisfied souls also surrender to the Lord's lotus feet. Yat pada samshaya sutta munaya prashamayana sadhya punant upashprishta swardunyapo lusevaya. From Srimad Bhagavatam. The slightest association with the supremely tranquil sages who have surrendered unto the lotus feet of the Lord purifies the people of the world. But the river Ganga purifies only those who bathe in it. So, sadhu sangha, this is really the greatest treasure. This is like, in the traditional, stereotyped, Vedic culture, there's so many different practices, that are performed. And one of those, of course, is pilgrimage to holy places, to holy rivers, and so on and so forth. But with deeper understanding, one sees that actually to have, what is there, it is mentioned elsewhere, that what is actually the real purpose of going to these holy places is to have the association of the saints who reside there. They are, as it is also mentioned in Bhagavatam, or maybe it's Mahabharata, but I think it's Bhagavatam, that those saints are so pure that they can purify the holy places. The holy places, they become contaminated with the weight of the sinful persons who come to bathe there. And it is the saintly persons, because of their purity, they can remove that, impurity. And there's a very beautiful, the one I'm trying to remember, it's spoken by Yudhisthira Maharaj. How does it go? Srila Gurudev liked that verse very much. He quotes it, and it's in Divine Guidance. I can't remember it. But Yudhisthira Maharaj, he's speaking to his uncle Vidura. Vidura has just, maybe it's even in
I have Divine Guidance. I have it.
Okay, yeah, you have it handy. But Yudhisthira Maharaj is speaking to his uncle Vidura. Vidura has returned from pilgrimage to various holy places, and then so Yudhisthira Maharaj, he comments to him, actually you don't need to go to the holy places. You yourself are, you are a tirtha. A tirtha means a holy place, right? You yourself are a tirtha, and your quality is so great that you can purify the holy places. Oh, thank you. Let me see if I can find it in here. Tirtha eva swayam vibho. Here it is. Very beautiful verse. Bhavad vidha bhagavatas tirti bhuta swayam vibho tirti korvanti tirtani So you can make holy places. Tirti kurvanti. You can make a tirta is a holy place, right? So you can make a tirta. Tirti kurvanti tirtani swantastena gadabrata. Very beautiful. So Yudhishthira Maharaj is saying this to his uncle Vidura. You don't need to go. The only reason for you to go to a holy place is to purify that place. You Swanta Stena Gadabhata. You carry the Lord within your heart. There's an article that was published in the Gaudiya Darshan, I believe, by Srila Gurudev, but maybe written by one of Srila Sridhar Maharaj's godbrothers, or maybe one of his disciples. But this Tyagi Maharaj found it, and he mentioned it. There's this very nice comment there. It was an article published in glorification of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and the birth Srila Sridhar Maharaj, the place that he was born, that village is called Hapanya, right?
Yeah, I went there.
You went there,
yeah.
Okay, with Srila Gurudev.
Yeah,
that must have been a long time ago.
It's a long time.
Wow. So the meaning of Hapanya, is, maybe someone mentioned, is sweet water. That is the meaning, right? And so this article in glorification of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, it was saying, what is the real significance of this? It's not just referring to the sweetness of the water here, but really the sweetness of the Harikatha that comes from Srila Sridhar Maharaj. That's really the real significance of that name. So there's some very radical expressions by some of our gurus. One I like very much by Narottam Thakur in one of his songs, Tirtha Yatra Parisham Kevala Manera Brahm Sarva Siddhi Govinda Charan, saying, travel to the holy places is only so much useless, hard labor. But the real thing is Sarva Siddhi Govinda Charan, that everything will actually be attained through the service of Govinda, through the service of the Lord. And of course that means, through the Vaishnava, through the devotees. So that is all in all the connection of the Vaishnava. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Koi, Lava Matra, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Koi. All the scriptures, they declare that. Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Sangha. Just all perfection can be attained just through a fraction of a moment of association with the sadhu. Nothing is superior to that. Just their presence within this world, which is being indicated here, just their presence in the world is actually it's spreading this vibration, purity, and that is it's giving. It has some beneficial, whether persons are conscious of it or not, it has some beneficial effect on. If a soul like that is present in the world, it has some beneficial effect on everyone, in one way or another, whether they're conscious of it. Well, for the most part, they won't be conscious of it. Srila Gurudev, he made one extraordinary comment, speaking about how the wave of Krishna consciousness, kind of exploded throughout the world. And he was saying that the preaching of Srila, I think he started out with this, because it's mentioned maybe in the Ayurveda Shastra, it's mentioned how lawyers telling lies, that causes disease. that vibration, of lying, that creates an impurity in the air which can cause disease in people. And so then we can also understand that the opposite is also true. If there's a vibration of great purity, that has a very, beneficial effect. And so Srila Gurudev, this was in Russia one day, Srila Gurudev, he commented that through the preaching of Srila Swami Maharaj Prabhupada and Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj, the air has become infused with Nitya Sukriti. This, like, Sukriti is like floating in the air. And because of that, like, so many persons, they're getting that, and that's awakening something within them. And they're coming to take this up. Okay. Next verse. Shri Krishnaika Sharana Naiva Vidi Kinkara. Those souls who have exclusively surrendered unto Krishna are not subservient to scriptural injunctions and prohibitions. And this is also from Bhagavatam. This is also a very famous verse, which we were referring to this verse the other day and quoted, many times by our gurus. Devarshi bhutapta nirnam pitrinam na kinkaro nayam rini charajan sarvatmanaya sharanam sharanyam gato mukundam parihritya kartam. O King, one who abandons all worldly obligations and wholeheartedly surrenders unto Mukunda, the exclusive shelter of all beings in every respect. Such a person is no longer indebted to the demigods, sages, other life forms, friends and relatives, mankind and ancestors. So we were discussing this point a couple of days ago. There's this whole Vedic system, which is actually a wonderful system, and facilitating persons to live in harmony. If you want to live a separate life, right, there's this whole system for how you can do so in the most harmonious and least reactionary way. So that's like the Varnashram system and all these Vedic practices. And so as a part of that, there are these particular debts that everyone who's born in this world has, which are listed here. And there's a particular way in which each of these debts will be liquidated. However, for one who's like taking the, not following the constitutional line, but wants to take the revolutionary path and like just go straight to the roots, to the center of everything, then they are excused from all of these ordinary obligations. They're giving their energy to the center, to the root cause, and so these lower duties are not necessary for them. So they are in a special position. Krishna is covering them. Krishna's got their back. He's taking care of all those things, as he promises in Bhagavad Gita. Aham tvam sarva papibhyo mokshaya shami ma. As a result of you, giving up your ordinary duties to attend to me, your fundamental duty, some reaction will come, some disturbance will come. Don't worry, aham tvam sarva papibhyo mokshaya. I'll cover that. If any sin should arise as a result of you leaving your ordinary duties, don't worry, I'll take care of that. So one who has, such is the dignity of surrender, of sharanagati, one who has done that, they are not obligated to the general, expectations and rulings of society. They are not debted to anyone. And then also, next to this verse in Bhagavatam, they're next to each other, I don't remember the order, but there's another verse along the same theme, which Srila Gurudev, appreciated very much, and he put some emphasis on. Swapadamulam bhajata priyasya tyaktanya bhavasha hari paresha vikarma yacho patitam katanchit dunoti sarvam hridi sanivishta, saying that that if, this is to such an extent, their position is so particular and unique, that even if such a surrendered soul, they're not like fully purified yet, but, as is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, they are ananya bhak, samyag vyavasito hisa. Their intention is perfect. Their ideal is perfect. Maybe they're not perfect yet. Api chet sudaracharo. They may even be, may do some wicked thing, even. They may have some very bad tendencies within them. But if beneath that, they are ananya bhak, they are exclusively given to me from the core of their heart, their ideal is such, then they should be excused. Sadhur eva samantavya. You should consider them to be a sadhu. This is quite a strong statement. And how many actually, we can talk about it, but in practice, how many can actually apply this, if one encounters such a situation. So you should sadhur eva samantavya. You should consider them to be a sadhu. And then this verse in Bhagavatam, which is next to this one, is saying that if such a surrendered soul, who's being described here, should accidentally commit some sinful activity, that should not be considered. The Lord is within their heart. He will personally cleanse them of their impurity. So they don't need to undergo any separate arrangement for purification, punishment, and so on and so forth. They've given up everything in the world. They've exclusively surrendered to me, but still some impurities within them. They may have some faults, commit some mistake. They should not be, that should not be considered. They should not be punished for that. And that verse that I just quoted, Srila Saraswati Thakur, he told that verse to Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and there was one occasion, you might have heard this story. There was one occasion, one very prominent godbrother of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was had a very important position in the Gaudiya Math. And did so much seva for Srila Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur for the mission. And so his service was very deeply appreciated. But at the same time, he had some fault, and he, at one period, because he had access to the funds, because he had such a position, and so he was spending some of that money, which should have been exclusively for the missionary activity. He was using it to send some of his relatives to school to cover their education costs. And so, understandably, this became known, and some devotees were very upset about this. And so some of them, they tried to bring this to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, but he didn't want to hear it. He was so appreciative of the service that devotee had done. He wanted to overlook that he was, misusing some of this money. And so these devotees were frustrated. They were very upset, and they weren't being heard. And so finally they went to Srila Sridhar Maharaj, because they thought, if he will bring this to Prabhupada, then he will have to listen, because Srila Sridhar Maharaj is known for being so sober, so intelligent, So if he will take this cause up, then Prabhupada has to listen to us. And so they went to Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he never liked getting involved in these kind of, situations, and really didn't want to be involved, but they put a lot of pressure on him. And so finally he felt like he had to do this, he was obliged. And so he went to Srila Saraswati Thakur. And Srila Saraswati Thakur was very disappointed. And he made some comment, like, even you, You know, like, I wouldn't have expected you to bring this up to me, you know. And he made many comments. He said some very, Srila Saraswati Thakur said some very extreme things, like he said, you know, I appreciate this devotee seva so much, you know, that even if everybody else left and it was just us, we can start again, you know. So if he's doing something wrong, I don't want to look at that. I'm just so appreciative of what he has done. And he also said something like, you know, money, like, if necessary, we can throw money into the Ganga. Like, we don't need to be so, you know, like, focused on money. So he said some things like that. And then 6 months later, Srila Sridhar Maharaj was traveling with Saraswati Thakur. I think they were in Madras. And so 6 months later, and the subject hadn't come up again. And then one day, Saraswati Thakur was sitting in his room reading Bhagavatam, and he came to one verse, which is the verse which I just mentioned. And he called for Srila Sridhar Maharaj to come. And he pointed to this verse and he said, here's the answer to your question. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj was very puzzled at first. Like, this is 6 months later, and what is he talking about? This is the answer to my question. And so then he went on to explain this verse, and he understood, you know, that you know, he has some faults, but the Lord will purify him of that. You know, he must tolerate that and have some patience. He is in the Lord's. We don't need to go and lock him up. You know, we don't need to punish him or beat him. The Lord is personally taking care of him. The Lord is in his heart. He has, you know, some mood of exclusive devotion. So the Lord, he will take care of that. We don't have to make it a separate thing. So it's, you know, it's quite a radical thing, you know, really. But such is the position of the surrendered soul. Okay. Next verse. Tad anugrahita veda dharma tita eva. The recipients of the Lord's mercy are transcendental to Vedic religiosity. So along these same lines. They're beyond that. Yada yasya nugrinati bhagavan atma bhavita sajahati matim loke vede cha parinishtitam. This is also a very beautiful verse. Because of the intense love of his surrendered soul, the Supreme Lord bestows his grace upon that devotee by ushering divine inspiration into his heart. Such a devotee then abandons the preoccupation with adhering to worldly obligations and Vedic religiosity. So this is an important point here, that you know, it's not that these, you know, higher, you know, devotees, it's not that they're thinking, oh, I'm superior to everyone else and I don't need to follow such and such. But it's that this type of forceful inspiration comes within their hearts, and they're unable to follow all these ritualistic practices. And so this is like a hammer to Sahajiism, you know, actually. You know, that persons will take it upon themselves. Oh, now I'm at a particular stage. Now I've been practicing for 30 years or 40 years or whatever, and now I'm going to do something else. I'm going to follow some higher level of devotional practice. It doesn't work like that. It will come to a point that you're unable to do it anymore. You know, it will be some forceful thing, some forceful feeling within the heart, and the devotees, even they're apologetic. You know, there's a very beautiful verse of Madhavendra Puri, and we'll come to it. It's here, included here in Prapanna-jivanamritam, and very significantly, that verse Srila Gurudev was chanting in his last days, in the weeks before he left. Srila Gurudev became fixated upon this verse of Madhavendra Puri, and he had it printed out on his wall, and he would chant that verse. But in this verse, Madhavendra Puri, he's expressing this apology. Like, he's like apologizing to all the things you're supposed to do, you know, like to the Sandhya Vandana means like the chanting of Gayatri at the particular junctions of the day, and you know, offerings to the ancestors, offerings to the devas, and so on and so forth. He's like saying, please forgive me, I cannot do this anymore, and I feel like I can get everything just by remembering Govinda, just by remembering the Lord. I'll get everything through that, you know. So you know, that will never be a healthy thing if we'll feel like, oh, now I'm gonna like leave this behind and I'm going to follow some higher level. It doesn't work like that. You know, the Lord will give this forceful inspiration within the heart of the devotee, and they won't have any choice but to do anything else. We don't have to like sit and calculate, oh, now it's time, you know, because that's what some persons have done, you know, like I'm bored now. I haven't dived into Sharanagati, and so my spiritual life is stagnant and boring. So now I'm gonna like juice it up a bit and do something different. No, if we're actually like consciously practicing, then you know, what's on our plate in front of us now, that's more than enough. That's an adventure. That's the most exciting adventure. And the Lord knows when it is time for it. It is like, you know, if a lady's going to give birth, she doesn't need somebody to tell her, oh, now it's time. Like, she knows when it's time, and it's going to come of its own accord. Okay. Sri Krishna Sarupameva Paramashaya Padam. As the epitome of divine ecstasy, rasa, the Supreme Lord's original form, Krishna, is the highest refuge. Dashame dashamam lakshyam ashritashaya vigraham Shri Krishna kyam padam dama jagadama namamita. In the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Krishna has been distinguished as the embodiment of shelter for the surrendered souls. Ashritashaya vigraham. Wow. Honestly, when I see some of these expressions, I really wish I knew Sanskrit better, because it's just so... Ashritashaya vigraham. He is the deity of shelter for the surrendered soul, something like that. The embodiment of shelter. What an incredible phrase. I bow down unto that supreme refuge of the universe, who is known as Krishna. Oh, now this verse is very beautiful. Sriman Mahaprabhu Padashaya Mahatmyam. The matchless, unsurpassable gift of surrender unto the lotus feet of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the golden avatar who enacts his pastimes as a great devotee. So now this verse in Bhagavatam is one of 2 verses, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj discusses these at the beginning of Golden Volcano, Divine Love, which are like hinting at, there's a few verses there in Bhagavatam that are hinting at the appearance of Mahaprabhu, because Mahaprabhu, he's known as the Chana avatar, the hidden avatar. He's not explicitly mentioned so much, but in a hidden way he is mentioned. And so this is one of a few verses which are giving some indication. So he's referred to as Mahapurusha here. Mahaprabhu. And a really wonderful verse. Deyam sada paribhavagyam abhishtadoham tirthaspadam shiva virinchinutam sharanyam Brityartiham pranatapala bhavabdi potam vande mahapurusha te charanara vindam. O guardian of the surrendered, O great personality, the supreme personality of Godhead himself, who enacts his divine pastimes as a pure devotee, Mahabhagavat. You alone are the reality to be constantly meditated upon by the pure souls. You are the destroyer of the soul's illusion. You are the divine wish-fulfilling tree, the refuge of all devotees. Worshipable by Shiva and Virinchi, Sadashiva in the form of Advaita Acharya and Brahma in the form of Haridas Thakur. You are the shelter of all and everything, and you are the dispeller of your devotees' suffering, which originates in offenses to the holy name. You are the only boat for crossing the ocean of this material world of suffering. I do worship your holy lotus feet. Dhyayam sada. You are only, you are to be constantly meditated upon. Dhyayam sada. Paribhavagyam. You are the destroyer of the suffering of material existence. Abhishtadoham. You are the giver of the greatest treasure. Tirthaspadam. You are the shelter of all holy places, worshipable by Shiva and Brahma. Brityartiham. You are the destroyer of the suffering of your servants. Pranata, here's your name. Pranata Pal.
Yeah, that's right. It must be
it must be from here. You are the maintainer of your surrendered souls. You are the Pranatapal. You are the protector, maintainer, caretaker of your surrendered souls. Pranatapal. Very beautiful name. Yeah, I was trying to, because I didn't get your name actually. I was trying to figure it out. But now I understand. I was thinking the Pal, what is the, but then now I'm seeing it like Gopal, it's the same word. The Gopal, the caretaker of the cows, So it's that Pal, means like the maintainer, caretaker. And Pranata is surrendered soul. Yeah. So Pranata Pal, the caretaker, the maintainer, the protector of his surrendered soul. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well, that's so wonderful. Bhavabdi potam. You're the boat which can cross us over the ocean of material existence. Bhavabdi. Vande Mahapurushate Charanada Vindam. We offer our obeisances to you, O Supreme Personality, to your lotus feet. And the other verse, Tyaktva Sudusjaja Surepshita Raja Lakshmim Dharmishta Ari Vachana Yada Gada Ranyam. I can't remember the next line. But it's an interesting verse because it can be read as describing Krishna as well as Mahaprabhu, as well as Ramachandra, this other verse. And so Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has shown how it can refer to Mahaprabhu. I think the primary reading is referring to Ramachandra. So Tyaktva Sudustyaja Sarepshita Laksham means that he gave up the wealth of royalty, like something like that. And so like in the case of Ramachandra, he gave up his kingdom, right? But that can also be understood in relation to Mahaprabhu. Srila Sridhar Maharaj explains that wealth, because the word Lakshmi is there, so that can refer to Vishnu Priya Devi, to Mahaprabhu's consort, as Nimai Pandit. that is the most valuable thing, actually. The wealth of the love in the heart of Vishnu Priya Devi, that is not an easy thing to give up. But he gave up that type of wealth. Dharmishta Arya Vachasa means like according to the word of the Brahmin. And so in the case of Ramachandra, it was because of his father's, obligation to his wife Kaikeyi, right? That Ramachandra had to do that, right? That he had to give up the throne. But in the case of Mahaprabhu, he received a curse from a Brahmin at one point, because there was a Brahmin who wanted to join this exclusive kirtan that was held at the home of Srivas Thakur. And it was, that night kirtan at Srivas Sangha, that was like very exclusive and only a very select group could participate. And there was one Brahmin in particular who wanted to join, but Mahaprabhu wouldn't allow him. And so he cursed Mahaprabhu. I think it was that same Brahmin, maybe it was another one. But it was some Brahmin. He cursed Mahaprabhu to lose his family life, lose material life. And Mahaprabhu danced with joy when he heard that.
Free at last.
And so Yada Gada Ranyam means he went to the forest. And so Ramachandra, he literally went to the forest. But going to the forest, it can also be symbolized by taking of sannyas. That's like, renouncing the world and going to the forest, like that. I don't think I can remember the rest of that verse. But that section in Golden Volcano, the way Srila Sridhar Maharaj explains these two verses is so beautiful. Very, very beautiful. Okay. He's come with Mahaprabhu has come as it's this Bhavabdi Pota. Mahaprabhu has come with this boat, to save us all. And Paraguru Maharaj mentions there, like he's come with this grand ship to rescue us all, and he says this very, very interesting comment. He says to take us within. He's brought this ship to take us within. Like we already have this wealth, actually. Not like he's picking us up and taking us so many hundreds of thousands of miles to another place. And actually, it's inside of us already. That wealth.
It's like taking shelter, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. Okay. These verses are all just so nice. Okay, I think we can finish this chapter. Shri Chaitanya Charana Sharane Chid Ekarasa Vilasa Labba. The souls surrendered unto the lotus feet of Shri Chaitanya Dev bathe in the ocean of divine love. This verse is Prabodhananda Saraswati, whose poetry is just extraordinary. He's like on the same level as Srila Rupa Goswami, if not more. But he's not so widely known because he purposely, tried to stay in the background, and he particularly requested that his poetry not be included in Chaitanya Charitamrita, because he wanted Rupa Goswami to be more prominent, because Mahaprabhu chose Rupa as his successor. And so Prabodhananda Saraswati, he didn't want to eclipse him in any way. And so he purposely, he requested that his verses, his name not be mentioned, not be included in Chaitanya Charitamrita. But his poetry is extraordinary. It's so wonderful. And quite extreme. He's like, very like fanatic, we can say, for Mahaprabhu. So this is one of his verses from Chaitanya Chandramrita. Samsara sindhu tarane hridayam yadisyat sankirtanamritarase ramate manaschad premam buddho viharane yadi chitta rittish chaitanya chanja charane sharanam prayatu. If you have a desire to cross the ocean of material existence, an aspiration to taste the ecstasy of the nectarian congregational chanting of the holy names, and a longing to sport in the ocean of divine love, then please surrender unto the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Chandra. So this is presented in such a way that nobody can say no. How can you say no? How can anybody say no to this? Of whatever denomination you are, you just can't say no. It's just like what's being expressed here is universal. Doesn't matter what level of understanding you're at. This is appealing. If you have a desire to cross the ocean of material existence, an aspiration to taste the ecstasy of the nectarian congregational chanting of the holy names, and a longing to sport in the ocean of divine love, then please surrender unto the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Chandra. There's another verse of Prabodhananda Saraswati. Dante Nidaya, I don't think I can remember it now. Dante Nidaya, Trinakam Padayorni Patya, begins like that. And Saraswati Thakur liked this verse very much. And also Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, he quoted this verse. And also Gurudev and Paramahansa Maharaj, but they put more emphasis on it, I think. And Saraswati Thakur, he described this verse as describing our whole preaching method. And it's saying our style, our preaching style, and it's an expression of a devotee saying, he's speaking addressing some common person and saying that I'm coming before you with a straw between my teeth, which is a symbol of humility, and I'm saying to you, hey Sadhava, hey, you very respectable, noble, religious person. I just have one very humble request of you. Hey Sadhava Sakalam Eva Vihaya Durat. Now, everything that you know, please throw it far away. Chaitanya Chandra Charane. Maybe it's from this same text. So please, I'm coming to you on my knees with straw between my teeth, and I'm begging you, oh, you noble, wise gentleman, please, I have one request. Everything that you know, just throw it away. And take shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Very respectfully telling persons, you know nothing. Please take this up and you'll get everything. Some flattery, some pleasing language, nudging them in the right direction.
Use the name Chaitanya Chandra there.
Yeah, very beautiful name. The moon, Lord Chaitanya. Shadvidha Sharanagati, 6 divisions of surrender. Anukulyasya Sankalpa, Pratikulya Vivarjanam, Rakshishatiti Vishvaso, Goptritve Varanam Tata, Atmanikshepa Karpanye, Shadvidha Sharanagati. Acceptance of the favorable, rejection of the unfavorable, the faith that he will surely protect me, embracing the Lord's guardianship, complete dependence on him, and the perception of one's utter helplessness without him. These 6 are the essential limbs of exclusive surrender to the Lord. Sharanagati. Sa cha kai manovakyai sadhya. Sharanagati should be practiced in thought, word, and deed. Tavasmiti vadan vacha tataiva manasa vidan tatstanam ashitastanva modate sharanagata. By his power of speech, the surrendered soul declares, I am yours. In his thoughts, he knows the same. And in person, he takes refuge in the Lord's holy abode. In this way, the surrendered soul passes his life, his heart filled with joy. By his power of speech, the surrendered soul declares, I am yours. In his thoughts, he knows the same. And in person, he takes refuge in the Lord's holy abode. In this way, the surrendered soul passes his life, his heart filled with joy. Iti Sri Prapanna-jivanamritam Sri Sri Prapanna-jivanamritam nama dvitiyo jaya. Thus ends the second chapter, the nectar of scriptural word, and life nectar of the surrendered souls, positive and progressive immortality. So it's the end of chapter 2, Sri Sri Prapanna-jivanamritam. Yes.
Gorgeous little treasure.
Beautiful in every way, inside and out.
Very nice.
Okay. Well, any last comments or anything from anyone, or should we stop there?
I want to be on that boat, man. Thank you.
We all want to be on that boat.
Yeah.
But Gurudev came with that boat, and he took us on that boat. Yeah. He has it. He's our captain. He's the captain. There's another verse in Bhagavatam where Guru Karnadaram, the guru is actually the body is compared to the boat, I think, and the guru to the captain. The human form of life is like compared to the boat. Nirdeham adyam sulabam sudorlabam plavam sukalpam guru karnadaram. Guru is the captain of the ship. And he will guide us, take us to our destination.
The light. Wow, I've so enjoyed this little class very much. And your Sanskrit's very pleasing.
I'm a baby, you know, with something. I wish I knew more. Shri Sri Prapanna-jivanamritam ki jai, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sri Hadi Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Srila Bhakti Samana Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. All the assembled Vaishnavas ki jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Jai Gaur Prema.